H-Town, Petco Park, a new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padre gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, that.
And good day, everybody. Welcome to the Padres versus Phillies Talking Friars pregame show for May 19th, 2022. I am your host, Ben Fadden, at Talking Friars on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can subscribe to this YouTube channel for daily Padres content. Daily, you're right, daily Padres content. Pregame shows before every game, and that's exactly what we're getting right into today. The Padres and the Phillies getting started at 10:05 a.m. Pacific time today. Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres. Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. This game on Bally Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan as always. I believe it's on MLB Network for out-of-market folks. And a big storyline going into this, I kind of teased it on the Twitter and Instagram when I tweeted out the link that I was going live for this pregame show, was Jake Cronenworth not in the lineup today. That's not something that you often see. When I look back at it, I mean, my initial thoughts on Jake Cronenworth not being in the lineup today against the Phillies in this series finale is, okay, it doesn't make me mad that much. You get his bat off the bench in a late game pinch hit role if you want that, kind of like how they did with Manny on a Sunday in Atlanta. And then with Jake, yeah, he's hitting like 206, not getting off, obviously, to the start that we envisioned, not hitting or getting on base as much, it seems like, as he did last year. But then again, last year he was an all-star. So it's still hard to replicate that, in your second real full season when pitchers have film on you and stuff like that. And maybe this is just a slump from him. I'm not panicked about Cronenworth, and this is just a day off for him. Manny's had a day off. I know he pinch hit on Sunday, but everyone's had a day off. And it's not the end of the world with Jake Cronenworth getting a day off today, because when you think about it, Robinson Cano, he's had some pretty good at-bats so far, right? You want him in there? Okay, that's a pretty good replacement as of now for Cronenworth at second base, with Kim obviously at short. And then with Luke Voit, yeah, he hasn't been great at the plate. He tried to hit one to the Rocky Steps the other day, or was it last night when he struck out there in the middle of the game? But they need to get him at bats too. You can't just give all these at bats to Cano and then just have Voit sit there on the bench. I mean, you could, but is that the best look? Or is that the best for Luke Voit? Because I think if the Padres want to have some success this season, I think Luke Voit is going to play a good role in that. That's what they envisioned him being when they acquired him. So I think that they still need to be giving Luke Voit these at-bats. And you're sitting a guy who, it's not like he's off to this MVP start, right? So I don't think it's really the end of the world when you think about it, for Jake Cronenworth to get a day off today. But that's where we start. That was the big thing when I looked at the Padres lineup today. I'll get to the rest of the Padres lineup. Padres going into this game, they're second place in the National League West, 2 games back. The Phillies are in second place in the National League East behind the Mets. They are 6 games back. The Padres obviously coming off that loss last night, 3-0. They won the first game of the series 3-0. They lose the second game of the series last night 3-0. Blake Snell was kind of like Blake Snell, right? There's a lot of people that say he was nibbling. I don't really agree totally with the notion that he was nibbling. I think he just wasn't totally there with the strike zone. And you just hope that he can get, obviously, more pitches into the strike zone more consistently as these starts go on to the season, because Nick Martinez came in and threw 4 scoreless innings after him in the bullpen. So you have Martinez, you have Gore, who pitched really well out of the bullpen after Clev the other night. So you have 2 guys there that can just go take his spot in the rotation if he continues to not pitch well. And I'll talk about that more on the episode after today's game, reacting to this whole series. But yeah, I think Snell should be on a pretty short leash. I don't know. I guess if you define a short leash, what do you define a short leash as? I say like 3 or 4 starts. And I think that's a pretty short leash for a guy that's won a Cy Young, a guy that he traded. Wasn't that the trade that they traded Luis Patino in? Who was he and Gore were their two top pitching prospects, and you dealt him for Snell. So he's got to perform, and it's because you got two guys that are pitching better than Snell is right now. I know Snell had one start, but we can only judge on what he's done at the major league level this year, because you can't, as he said last night, you can't compare what he did against the Phillies last night to how he had success against minor leaguers, because that's obviously not the same thing. So that was kind of like Snell's performance last night. Walk 3, 2 of those walks ended up coming around to score. So it's the walks again, kind of like last year, that has prevented him from having better starts. It's not like he was run out of the game in the first inning, right? But you'd rather not see him have two guys come around to score on walks, right? And not give up that double to Odubel Herrera down the line on a pitch that I think was supposed to be outside and it ended up being inside, right? You don't want to see that. So hopefully he can build on that. Again, I'll talk about that more today after the game on my series reaction episode live on YouTube here. Let's see here. So first pitch, like I mentioned, 10:05 p.m. or a.m. Pacific time. Episode 164, just a quick reminder, with Heath Bell, is also out on podcast platforms and on YouTube. And then episode 165 about that Soto trade rumors is also out, that I did yesterday before the Padres game. So both of those are out to listen to if you want to listen to those or watch those on YouTube before this Padres game. Still got about 2 hours as I speak. But let's get to a little bit more of a preview here. Yu Darvish for the Padres on the mound today. He has a 4.62 ERA going in. He allowed 5 runs his last start against the Atlanta Braves, although it was really only 2 runs that he allowed because Will Myers should have caught that pop-up, in shallow right field. It was a pop-up. He was playing deep, and he ended up sprinting in. It clanked off his glove. You could make the argument that Eric Hosmer should have gotten to that ball. I certainly think you should make that argument. He was kind of jogging to it, wasn't sprinting. And then he obviously gave up when Myers was definitely sprinting in and tried to take command and go get that ball. And then after that play, more runs scored. I think Suarez came into that game, gave up some runs that actually ended up going to Darvish. So the ERA got a little more inflated because of that. So I would not expect him to give up 5 runs today. As for Kyle Gibson, this seems kind of like Zach Wheeler, right? His numbers so far this year, ERA over 4 coming into the start. Wheeler obviously dominated last night after not doing great against the Dodgers in the previous start, if I remember correctly. No, that might be Gibson. Yeah, Gibson allowed 6 runs against the Dodgers in his last start. Worst start of the year. That inflated his ERA because he hadn't allowed more than 3 runs at all, but only one other time this season so far in 2022. So it seems like, based on the numbers, he's actually been pitching a little bit better than Zach Wheeler has going into their respective starts this series against the Padres. You just hope that he doesn't pull a Zach Wheeler and dominate for 7-8 innings, whatever Wheeler did. Because obviously the Padres got shut out last night. A big part was Wheeler. And then, taking 4 pitches off Corey Knebel, and there you go, boom, 3 outs, 4 pitches last night. So that's a little bit of the pitching matchup for today. As for the bullpen situation, the good news is the last 2 nights, right? You had Gore pitch a lot, and then Rogers only that 1 inning, 12 pitches the other night, the first game of the series. And then last night you had Martinez just finish it after Snell exited, couldn't get it out of the 4th inning. Stammen came in, finished that inning, and then Martinez threw 4 shutout innings. That means that the bullpen's rested, as you can see here. Rogers hasn't thrown in since the first game of the series. Garcia has 3 days off. Wilson's had 4 days off. Suarez has had at least 5 days off. Chrismat has had at least 3 days off. Stammen only threw 6 pitches yesterday. Gore and Martinez aren't available because they had their roles. They were already slated for yesterday and the day before that for Gore. So what I'm saying here is the top 5 guys in this bullpen are available today. So that's good news. Behind Darvish, you'll be able to just deploy those guys if you have a lead, hopefully, when that happens. And that's kind of pitching pack to victory if you think about it. Darvish goes 5-6 innings. Hopefully it's 6 innings. Maybe he goes 7. That would really help the bullpen. And then you go Garcia, Wilson, and Rogers, right? That would be your ideal scenario. I know some people might want to steer away from Wilson, but so you could go Suarez, Garcia, Wilson, or Suarez, Garcia, Rogers. However you want to do that, I don't care. But I still want to believe that Wilson's going to be able to produce. I guess if it's like a 4-run lead and you want to put Wilson out there, maybe you do that. I think the Padres still are going into this game saying that, hey, I have confidence in Steven Wilson. We'll put him out there. You know, he's had a couple bad outings. His May has not been the same as his April, but he's a rookie. Let's just hope we have a 3-run lead. Okay, if he's not on his game, then we can pull him much quicker than you did on, when was that? Saturday, when they had that 5-2 lead in the 8th and then they blew it. Pull him earlier if you know that he doesn't have it. But I'd be okay giving him another chance here, obviously, because you need him to pitch at some point. And it'd be good to build his confidence back up going into the San Francisco series, I'll tell you that. All right, let's get to the lineups. As for those, both lineups, I believe, are out. We're less than 2 hours away from first pitch because obviously it is an early game. Hold on, that was the wrong page. That's Cronenworth's page. All right. So for the Padres, I think it's interesting they have Grisham leading off. He's not hitting well, 151. That's the worst batting average in the order, and they're having him hit leadoff. But you are facing what? Yeah, it is a righty. So they want that lefty leading off. They don't want back-to-back righties. But with Cronenworth not playing, now all of a sudden you have Jurickson Profar as your 4-hitter, which isn't ideal right now. You have Will Myers as your 5-hitter. That's not really ideal right now. And Ha-Seong Kim batting 8th is a little interesting to me. I think you would think that maybe they tried him at the 2-hole so that you could have Manny and Haas be 3-4 if you're going to do that. I don't know how many times Manny has hit second in the batting order this year, but not many. It's been third pretty much the entire year. So that's interesting to me. Cano obviously in there hitting 6th in front of Voit. So they got that right, left, right, 5 through 7 there with Myers, Cano, and Voit. But Cano hitting 6th. I know Voit, Kim, Nola. Okay, that's not a ton of production there. I mean, Kim, yeah, Nola contact hitter situationally, I guess. Which situationally, I would think that they'd want Nola to be higher up in the order, maybe like 7th, and you put Voit even lower. You have Kim hit 9th and be that second leadoff type guy. If they want situationally, because situationally with Nola, you want guys on base. Voigt's not really an on base guy; he's more of a power guy. So that's kind of weird, but I guess, I mean, with Cronenworth not in the lineup, it just changes a lot of things. It forces you to put Profar kind of at the 4-hole if you were going to put him 5 if Cronenworth was playing, stuff like that. So that's interesting. And then for the Phillies lineup, no Harper again. So the Padres got really lucky here. I saw an update. I was watching ESPN on the ticker today that Bryce Harper's not going to throw for 6 more weeks. It was supposed to be 4. And I don't think he's played a game in right field since like April 16th or 15th, some day like that. So he's going to be a long time not throwing. He's going to start throwing for 6 weeks for another 6 weeks. That's how long he's going to wait. So the Padres dodged a bullet here, not even have to face Harper. But as we saw last night, the Phillies lineup still has the ability to go get Padres pitching if you throw pitches over the middle of the plate, if you don't hit your spots. If you walk some guys, they'll capitalize on that. Hoskins with the homer last night, and he leads off. Then you got Bohm, Schwarber. He's in left, so we'll see if his defense hurts the Phillies again today like it did on, when was that? Tuesday. Castellanos cleanup hit in right field. Real Muto kind of with the day off, half day off at DH. Odubel Herrera center field. Camargo at second, which was, last night he sucked hitting against Snell. You know the slider's coming. Why do you keep swinging at it? The slider was in the same spot, and he continued to swing at it. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And then Garrett Stubbs, the former Astro, hitting 8th. Bryson Stott hitting 9th. So not a whole lot to talk about there. With Harper not in the lineup, that's pretty much what you're going to be seeing. And they're just giving JT Realmuto kind of the half day off there at DH. Let's see here. Somewhat to watch for. Is Harper playing? No, he's not playing. Still with the partially torn UCL. Like I mentioned, another 6 weeks without throwing, and the Padres are lucky they don't have to face the reigning MVP this series. And it definitely would be good to capitalize on that and get the series win, because you don't have to have Harper in the lineup, who hit 3 bombs against the Dodgers last weekend. And he was huge in why they were able to take 3 out of 4 in LA at Dodger Stadium. And then another what to watch for, the bullpen. Obviously, the full bullpen is essentially available, minus Gore and Martinez, but they're not like full relievers right now. They're long man, piggyback guys. But everyone's available. Wilson, Suarez, Garcia, Rogers, the big 4 there, they're all available. You can throw Chris Matt in there, but maybe they want to save him for San Francisco if something happens there. And then Cano in the lineup, right? Cano and Voit. Is this the first time? No, it's not the first time, I don't think. Where it might be, because didn't Cronenworth DH Sunday or something? It was weird. But I think this is the first time that Voit and Cano are in the lineup at the same time. So you can watch out for that. Both in the lineup. Will Cano produce more than Voit? Who knows? We'll see about that. And then my Padre pick for yesterday was Haas. He went 0 for 3, so my record's down to 22-11 so far this season in my pregame show pick. Today I'm going to go Haas again. I looked up his batting average against Kyle Gibson, and it's really, really good. I don't have it up right now. I don't have the site up, so I don't have the specific number for you, but it's really, really good. I think it's over 300 against Gibson in his career. So that feels like the easy pick. So yeah, I think that for the Padres Phillies portion of it, that's pretty much it. We can go around the league a little bit here. Diamondbacks are at Wrigley today at 4:40, and it is a Thursday, so there's minimal games. The Dodgers don't play, Rockies don't play, so that's the NL West stuff there. Scherzer exited last night's game for the Mets. He's headed for an MRI due to left side discomfort. It was during his start, and after a pitch, he immediately waved to the trainer and said, I'm done. So when he does that, you know he likes staying in the game. When he does that and he says, I'm done, and he's like, nope, not doing it anymore, you know something's wrong. So I'm sorry, but I can't. If I was a Mets fan, I'm sorry, I can't be optimistic right now based on DeGrom being hurt and Scherzer, obviously. It's just not a good look, not a good look like perception, but it's not a good look for a Mets fan literally looking at the game, watching the game, and seeing Scherzer know that something's wrong. If he knows his body is much better than anyone, so he knows something's wrong. He's not even trying to fight through it. That's not great news. Scherzer, remember in 2019, the World Series, he got scratched due to neck tightness, because he woke up and he literally could not get dressed. He couldn't dress himself, his neck hurt so bad. And he ended up fighting through it in Game 7 and pitching that game. And then the Nats obviously ended up winning. So he fights through injury. So for him to just walk off, that can't be great. I'll be surprised if he makes his next start. I'll say that. Jack Swinsky, former Padre prospect, he homered for the Pirates yesterday at Wrigley. But other than that, that's pretty much the other, news for now. Matt Harvey was suspended 60 games, I think. but that's no one really cares because he's not even playing right now. And he was suspended for admitting that he used, PEDs during the Tyler Skaggs trial. I think that's how he admitted it, and so there was no way to deny it. He obviously literally admitted it because he had to come through. I mean, it's a serious thing. So he was going to get suspended. So that's not surprising. But I think that's all the MLB news. I think that's it. I'll have an episode after the game. Again, Heath Bell interview is up, podcast platforms, YouTube, and then the Juan Soto trade rumors, if you want to call it that Buster Olney put out there. I react to that as well. That's on this YouTube channel and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Megaphone, wherever you get your podcasts. So you can go listen or watch that whenever you want, and then I'll come back after the game for a reaction on this Phillies series. Hopefully it's me talking about the Padres taking 2 out of 3 instead of losing 2 out of 3. All right, enjoy the game, everyone. See ya.